I made a trip to the flea market. There were dollar bin scores to be found, but it took me a while to find them. Let's go over it next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. Give us a follow on the other socials, Instagram, Bronzeville_comics, on Whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. On Whatnot, we do sales every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And there is a link in the description. If you've not yet signed on, you can sign up with Whatnot, get $10 off your first purchase. Also in the description of this video is a link to my email, as well as my eBay store. So get that out of the way. So I headed out to the Meadowlands Flea Market on Saturday morning. So we are headed to the Meadowlands, MetLife Stadium, for the Meadowlands Flea Market. It's a beautiful Saturday. Was it 53 degrees? It's 7:30 in the morning. So we'll see if we can find some really cool comic books. Well, let's see what we can find. See if any of the guys that usually have good stuff are here. So unfortunately, I didn't take a lot of video. I was going around and it was kind of slow. There were some dollar bins and some guys had some price books. So I picked up a few of these 25th anniversary covers in condition varied. I thought Power Man and Iron Fist, pretty early issue. And then I picked up this issue of Super Friends. Not a key, but for a couple bucks I figured, I'll pick that up. Same with this one. That'll go in the PC. Can't turn down a Detective Comics for a couple bucks. And then there was an 80-page Superman Giant. It's in lower grade, but still a cool book. Dazzler #2. Last Stand in Disco Land. And I wanted to talk about this book because it's in lower grade. It's not a big book, right? But I picked it up because of the story behind it. And it's a spec story, but I think it's a remote spec. And it has to do with the Superman film, formerly entitled Superman Legacy. There was a rumor that Ultraman would appear as a Superman clone. Now, in the comics, Ultraman is a evil version of Superman from another universe, the Earth 3 with the Crime Syndicate of America. That was the Silver Age origin. It's kind of been updated a little bit over the years, but pretty much the same story. And Bizarro is also sort of a clone of Superman, but an imperfect clone. Things went wrong. And it was Lex Luthor who made the clone. But there actually was a true clone of Superman made by Lex Luthor, who made one appearance. And that was in this anniversary issue, Action Comics 500. Right? This Infinity cover by Ross Andrew and Dick Giordano. Anyway, this book has discoloration on it. Doesn't have a lot of value, but I figured for a couple bucks I'll pick it up. Now, the story in this is Lex gets a piece of skin cell from Superman and clones him and then rapidly ages him until he can fight Superman and he controls him. But then, because this is the Bronze Age, this is 1979, pre-Crisis, there are all sorts of different kryptonites in existence, and it's the gold kryptonite, which the real Superman exposes the clone Superman to, that gold kryptonite takes away Kryptonians' powers. So the Superman clone loses his powers, and he was never heard from again. Even though he looked exactly like Clark Kent, I guess. I don't know how he established an identity. But anyway, that is That's the story behind that book, and I think it's not a good spec, but it's I picked it up. I do have that in my original collection. So I just thought that was kind of fun. Oh, Key Collector misled me slightly on this next one. I picked up Authority number 13. It does have a little bit of value. It's the first appearance of Jacob Kriegstein, the creator of the supervillain team The Americans, a parody of Jack Kirby and the Avengers. So that was in there. That was in somebody's dollar bin. And then that's all I really had found. Oh no, I found a couple of these, and this may be one of those mistakes that folks make. I picked up a Betty number 1. It does have some foxing on it. A X-Men 253 newsstand. So a Newsy X-Men, that's fine. Then I picked up 2 copies of this. It's newsstand. It's a 90s newsstand. Ghost Rider Blaze, Spirits of Vengeance. And I was like, oh, when I looked at cover price, and this is where you have to be wary with prices. Again, what I pay, $1 for this? So what? It is a newsstand, and it was listed as having a value of $13. That's because there was one sale like 2 years ago of a very fine newsstand for $13. So it is not. It's Ghost Rider Ghost Rider Blaze Spirits of Vengeance, number 14. So it is not a incredibly popular book, but it is a newsstand. And I'm going to be doing probably I have a ton of later 90s and 2000s newsstand that I'm going to kind of put together. And that will be one of them. So, at any rate. And then the guy had one more book, and I was flipping through the back issue bin. And you have to keep an eye out. So this book, I saw this. I'm like, ooh, new Robin issue of Batman 457. So this is the second print. And I'm like, is it? No, it's the direct. The newsstand of this is so rare, it's worth hundreds of dollars. Right? And then I went to Streetside Anthony's later in the day, and he had found a copy at a thrift store for $10. And it's worth literally hundreds. That newsstand, second edition. So that was all I had found. And I was kind of walking out. I was ready to pull the cord and leave for the day. And I ran into a couple of guys I had seen at one of the other booths, and a guy I know, Carl. And I was like, oh, you find anything good? He goes, yeah, there was a guy up at the front row. Now, the way the Meadowlands Flea Market is set up is a front to a back. And I think the people who are there regularly, I know you can get a monthly pass. I don't know if it's an annual pass, but the people who are up front are usually selling. There's like a food trucks up there. And there are people who sell like, bananas and laundry detergent and compression socks, and they're not cleaning out houses and selling, antiques and collectibles. The people with the license plates and the power tools and the hand tools and the sports cards and the toys and the comic books tend to be towards the back. I go, you never see him up in front. He goes, yeah, he was there. Go check him out. We got some books. There's some 12 centers. Like, okay. And everything was $1. Adventure Comics, $3.78. Neil Adams cover, $1. $3.75. $3.70. $3.58. Again, these aren't particularly high grade, but for $1. And then $3.53. This is The Death of Fearolad. And if you're going to have $3.53, you're also going to have $3.52, which is the first appearance of the Fatal Five. That's an awesome book. Then there were a bunch of Sea Devils, number 19. number, what is that number? I need to focus. Number 7. And number 18. So I think I'm going to collect this run. I actually have number 1 that I gotten graded, and I had it graded. It came back in 8.0. So maybe that'll let me just get the rest of them. And then there was a Blackhawk 204. So that was it for the oh, no, there was a Marvel Tales 10. That's a reprint book, first Kraven the Hunter reprint. Right? So there's some cool stories in there. Is that, no. Black Magic number 1. DC Bronze Age Horror. X-Force 11, first appearance of Domino. Just a Batman 393. I guess that's a Copper Age. Amazing Spider-Man 275. Retelling of Spider-Man's origin. It's what is this? An anniversary issue, maybe? It's a book-length epic. All-Star Western number 11. Lower grade, but this is the second appearance of Jonah Hex. And this is the last issue in the title. With issue 12, it became Weird War Tales. Because in 1972, everything in DC was going weird. Weird Western Tales. Weird War Tales they had. Weird Worlds. Adventure was named for a while in 73 on the cover, but not in the indicia. Weird Adventure Comics when Spectre was appearing in it. And there was Weird Worlds. I think there was at least one other weird title. Amazing Spider-Man 271. Spider-Man 37, just part of the Maximum Carnage run. Star Wars 104. I think, we go to 108 on this series, so this is a very late issue. Pretty decent shape. I picked up this Rogers, Austin artwork, Marshall Rogers. This is a really low grade, and somebody wrote their name on it. Who was that? Chris? But Chris got a newsstand. Venom Lethal Protector number 1. I'm not sure that's worth much more than $1. An X-Men 217 and 218 with a cool Art Adams cover. Green Lantern 48, the first appearance of Kyle Rayner. Then I got issues 3, 2, and 1 of The Crow. This is the reprint of the original series. So these have value. They're not worth nearly as much as the original series. They're these trade paperbacks. There were 3 issues in 1992. Those came out. That was a good find. I got a couple of Weird War Tales with Creature Commandos, with that show coming out. I'm grabbing those issues when I see them. I see them for $1. A Marvel 2-in-1. And then a couple of issues of Cerebus. 24 and 48. Double-digit issues of Cerebus. Cerebus, very niche collectors. Sensational She-Hulk 43, one of these John Byrne Good Girl art covers. But I've got to do something to sell this book. Blackhawk, I said before, thanks to John from Bronze and Modern Gods, I'm working on this Evanier Spiegel run. I'm pretty close to completing it as well. This I picked up. I like this. I've gotten this in a collection recently, too. The Frank Frazetta Masterworks series of great comic book artists, issue number 1. And it reprints some of the Frazetta Shining Knight stories from Adventure Comics. I think he started doing the Shining Knight in the 50s, because that character lasted quite a bit past a lot of his Golden Age counterparts, and quite a bit past his appearances with the Seven Soldiers of Victory and leading comics. Miracle Man number 1 for $1, certainly. And then I went to Streetside Anthony's. I got the first chapter of Daredevil Born Again. Is that going to be the title of the series? I'm not sure. I got 2 copies of Infinite Crisis 5. The value on this has dropped quite a bit, but Zola Maridueña will be reprising his role as Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle in the new DCU, so that is something to be excited about. And then a couple of other books I picked up. X-Men 166 is the first appearance of Lockheed. And then Howard the Duck number 1. This is the first appearance of Gwenpool. So that was my Saturday haul. You know, I enjoy just going out and hunting and the thrill of the hunt. And I was happy to find those dollar books, especially that Crow series and those Legion of Superheroes Adventure Comics books. Made for a successful morning out hunting. And, you know, when the weather's nice, a good way to start a Saturday. The rest of my weekend was extremely busy with stuff that was not quite as entertaining as buying comic books. So hopefully you guys had a great weekend and maybe came across some finds. Let me know what you think about the books that I picked up here. In the meantime, you can take a look at a couple of my videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.